I'm glad to be back. I wanted to thank all of you new subscribers and welcome to my channel, and I hope you find it useful to clarify the known differences between Aspergers and neurotypicals. That's my goal, to try to help clarify it. And I wanted to do this for my own self, and when I started learning more about it, it was just like eureka, and I started understanding life a lot better. And I really wish I'd had the knowledge when I was a little girl or when I was a teenager that I'm sharing on this channel. So I thought maybe it might help other people, help you understand the differences between Aspergers and neurotypicals and some of the other neurodiverse types that are showing up on our planet as we speak. When you understand the differences, like let's just say you're an Aspie, an Aspergers, and you don't know that much about why you're different from neurotypicals, but you just know you are, and it's painful or difficult. Well, if you can understand the differences and why they're that way, like both on a neurological and maybe philosophical reasons, then you'd understand what outliers are, those people, those mavericks that change civilizations for the good because they come up with new ideas and they're visionaries. And so people who are more neurodiverse are able to do this, like Einstein, Tesla, Newton, and all those groundbreaking scientists, and other people too, of course, like Jim Henson, for example. He was an Asperger, and he just revolutionized puppetry, and he's one of my two favorite puppeteers, first one being Edgar Bergen, who does ventriloquism. And today's topic, now that I've said what the channel's about, is I wanted to show you a bit more of a personal video to just offer another Asperger's person, and you can like see what they're like and see if you relate to any of these things and see if you have any similarities or if you're like an Asperger but you're opposite than me. But I am pretty much consider myself to be Asperger's, empathic, and a highly sensitive person. And I don't think these, okay, they don't have to be distinguished, you know, that they all have overlap. In some cases, highly sensitive people seem exactly like Asperger's, but Asperger's have that, like, sort of that analytical ability that I would say, I don't really hear empaths mentioning that trait, so there could be some overlap. But I know that I have both highly sensitive traits because, like the Asperger and like autistics, I have sensory processing advantages and also sensory processing disabilities, because when you live in a place that's toxic for your particular wiring, you know, then you're not going to be happy. Like if you put a cat in a very loud band room where they rehearse music, a cat may not be very happy because cats like soft, quiet environments where they can sleep all day. Sort of a silly example, but you know, so I'm a cat, so if you put me and Asperger into a loud environment, I may not thrive very well. When I mentioned the empath, that hasn't really been studied scientifically, and neither has the indigo or the starseed or the rainbow or anything. These are just sort of general terms that people talk about because they kind of like both know the phenomenon of the rainbow child, and when you both have a rainbow child, you can talk about it and have a name for it, but it's an experiential comparison. Whereas on the other hand, Simon Bernard Cohen in the 80s and 90s did MRIs on Asperger brains, and he had some kind of a less subjective, more objective view of the Asperger brain in particular. And so, why am I saying this? I'm just saying that they all overlap, but the one that's the most scientifically studied, as far as I know, is the Asperger one, where he shows that Aspies have 60% more neurons and 100 times more interconnections between brain compartments. And, you know, you may, if you're not an Asperger or if you're anti-Asperger, you may think that this is a disability, but I beg to differ. I think that we need to be more open-minded and ask, what is it for? What is the benefit? Is there a benefit? Anyway, so when I take this Aspie quiz that's done on a circle graph, I always score like 50%, like 50-50. And so the answers on the quiz are sort of like, oh, you are most probably an Aspie, or you might be an Aspie, probably, strongly probably, but you know, it's never definitely. You know. So here is the chart, and then if you, and then there's all these variables on the side, blah, blah, blah. how you think, how you act, blah, 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 you know, all these things. And if you're over here, you're a neurotypical. And if you're over here, you're Asperger. Okay? Okay, so my daughter's a neurotypical, and so this is her test results. My other daughter is an Aspie, and here's her test results. And then, believe it or not, I am sort of like a star. You know, because I'm real good with like love and relationships, and but I'm also good at thinking out of the box and high sensory processing issues. Well, back to my notes. I wanted to point out. That's one way that I tested myself. The other is reading books all about Aspies, like just the ones that are out there. Most of them are written by neurotypicals, by the way, and they don't know it, but they say things that are so insulting to the Aspie. They don't realize they're doing it, but you know, we Aspies know. But here's the thing: is since I know they don't know that they're doing it, they don't know that they're insulting you when they point out a certain trait you have. But on the other hand, maybe Aspies, when they say that neurotypicals are narrow-minded, they don't realize they're insulting the neurotypical, because nobody wants to be called narrow-minded. But in a way, you know, it's like a scale. How narrow-minded are you? Well, neurotypicals are probably in the middle, and Aspies are like opposite. They're more open-minded. They'll take in all the data, see? And the only reason neurotypicals are narrow-minded is just because their filters are very, very strong. It's like they have very superfine filters that only let in the key crystals of the data, whereas the Aspies, we let in all the data. It's like our filters are completely open, so we have to juggle through and make sense of more information in the same amount of time. But we have more brain power, so kind of a balance. But we are a bit slow, actually. It takes a while to calculate all that stuff. Also, I am an INFP and an INTJ. I have a different video talking about this. And it depends on what environment I'm in. I'm sort of flexible. I would have normally been an INFP, but I got a PhD in chemical engineering and worked for 20 years in industry. So I kind of learned how to be a TJ, you know, like real thinking, logical, like that. But I'm probably more of a feeling. Now I'm self-employed, luckily, and I work at home. And the reason I love it is because I have so many projects, and a lot of empath channels talk about how you need to work out of the house, you know, because you need to be your own boss, and being around people is very draining on us, especially certain types of people, like people that are in a rush all the time, or that are real pushy, because, well, I'm so like passively meek and open-minded and open-filtered that I let it all in, and then I end up getting stomped all over. But I feel like when I put a shield up that it's like rude, you know, but I need to figure out how to make my shield stronger. And right now, to do that, I'm working out of the house. Wow, what better way? I have 20 miles between me and people. And so that seems to work really well for a lot of empaths and highly sensitive people. And I assert perhaps Aspergers too, if you're highly sensitive. Well, so now that I've talked about why I think I'm an Aspie because of that circle graph, and the fact that I'm an INFP, INTJ, which are very highly represented in the Asperger class, and I know I'm an empath. Now that we know that and we've established that, and maybe you agree with me, then I will move on to what does a typical Asperger think about on their spare time, or what do they like to think about? And I started out with being an artist, drawing on my walls in my nursery when I was like 2. And then that evolved into taking all these art classes all my life, and then going to high school and taking art. But art school was real expensive, and I got into chemical engineering school, and it was really cheap because it was a state school. So that was my path. And then I learned science. That was my second one. And then I worked in industry. And then ventriloquism, that's what I picked up because I grew up in the field of show business. My parents were in show business. And my dad's girlfriend was a ventriloquist, and so I learned ventriloquism. I still practice it. And then music. During grad school I studied music, jazz theory. And and I composed a lot of music and guitar, and then each one of these adds on to the previous. I never let one go. I just add more, and then now I'm writing books, fiction and nonfiction. So that's 5 things: art, science, ventriloquism, music, and books. And I have to juggle all that, so it's really good that I work out of the house, because now I have time and my own, you know, will to decide what days I do what and which ones I focus on for the year. Now, it's clear that I have no chance of working on all of these projects if I had a corporate job and was working all day. Now, you know, I wish I could, because money's good, you know, but there's a certain point where in our lives where, like me, I have to go on that road to discover who I am and actually put forth what I'm here to put forth. And that is my accumulated ideas and passions that I've had all my life while I worked in corporate world. So I'm learning how to live simply out of the house and not spend a lot of money, and instead spend my time working on these projects. So I also will point out one last thing about cycles of time. And I noticed that every February of every single year that I can remember of my life, I'm never productive. Like, I started noticing that when I was like in my 20s and 30s, and I'm just never productive, ever in February. I'm just always feeling tired, or I want to stay in, you know? That's natural. We all want to hibernate in the winter. And so, especially here in the cold, with all this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful snow out the window. See all that snow? Oh my God, it's gorgeous. It's melting too, falling off the trees. So anyway, that's the outdoor window. I noticed that I'm not productive in February, and so this February and the last about 5 Februaries, what I've done is, I'm a little bit cold, I have made the conscious effort to spend that unproductive time being productive. But I was being productive in an easy way, and that was, first I gathered together all the successes I had in 2018. So I wrote 3 books and just pretty much helped certain people. Anyway, so I made a list, and I was feeling really like, okay, I didn't waste the year, even though it seems like I did. I guess I didn't waste it because I got all that done. And now I'm planning for this year, and I have so many projects that it's kind of overwhelming. So I allowed myself, you know, a couple weeks now to go over all my progress of all my projects and just do a reality check and say, look, I can't do all these in 1 year. I can do them over a lifetime. So which ones are the high priority? Which ones do I have passion for now? Which ones fit into my lifestyle now? And, you know, I kind of figured out what's the best thing to do for this year. And each night when I go to bed, I would wake up with better ideas, or, you know, like, you know what? I think ventriloquism is really, really important to me, and I'm not going to let that sit there another year. I'm going to pick up those puppets. I'm going to start rehearsing my technique where you don't move your lips, but your puppet makes the audience think that the puppet's alive. It's like an art, you know, it's like a grand art. And if you can make people think that this puppet is a real person, it's just like the biggest thrill if you can do that. So my ventriloquism started in grad school and undergrad, and I had various puppets, and then I got Charlie, who's the best puppet of all, but Charlie is in Texas right now, far, far away, so I use different other puppets. And you can find my puppet videos on Charlie and Carol video channel.
You look so good in white. So what? Doesn't everyone? No, not me. I look good in black, bro. Oh, yes, it paint your whole face black. You look a lot better. Hey. Okay, enough.
Anyway, that's what I wanted to tell you, that's who I am. Oh, I guess I would just say,
oh, what's jumping around in my hat? What could it be? Well, it just might be me. Oh, hello! And what is your name? Charlie. Oh, hello, Charlie. And your name is?
well, first of all, what were you doing in my hat?
Well, there are some leftover cookies in there. Very tasty, by the way.
Oh, they must have been old. This hat's been in the closet for years.
Well, they did taste like vintage, I must say, but they were good.
My art consists of a whole bunch of giant paintings that are like 32 by 40 inches, and then a whole bunch of ceramics. These are all partially featured on Fine Art America under the artist name Carola Joyce. I have a whole bunch more to post. Then my music, I recently realized I'm not going to be able to play the guitar anymore, jazz guitar, because of my wrist issue. Live and let live, and learn to let go. And so I'm going to sell my guitars, and I just went ahead and published all my music, all in like 9 albums on Bandcamp. And yes, they're not produced, but they're perfect for film music. You know how some movies have a song that's sort of like, the singer is kind of bad, you know, because it's such a sad scene. So my music would be perfect for all those sad scenes in the movies where you need a moment of sadness. Play Carola Joyce music. So anyway, yeah, that's on Bandcamp. Carola Joyce.
Joyce.
That's my puppet. And that was the art, that was the music. And then the science, yeah, I studied chemical engineering under Dr. Robert L. Pigford. And that was at University of Delaware. He was so cool. He was so Aspergers. So amazing. Yeah, he taught me how to slow down and draw the graph neatly, yeah, and make the arrows a certain way so that they look like arrows. Yeah, he was good. You have to work hard, he said, jumping a beat down. Okay. I played guitar quite a bit in grad school days. He didn't like the fact that I had my guitar in my lab, but now looking back on it, I can see that I should have not brought my guitar into the lab, but what did I know back then? Like I say, this channel didn't exist. See, so then the last skill is writing books, and that kind of started because I had so many ideas and theories that bubbled up over my lifetime. I know you're probably not even watching this because I'm just rambling on and on about all this stupid stuff that nobody cares about, but point being is that I'm an Aspie, and we love to talk about what we love, you know? And so I'm giving myself the indulgence to do this with the excuse that, well, I'm making a video, you know, to show people what Aspies are like. Are you like this? Do you go on and on and on about your projects? Like, who cares probably that I wrote music and played in a band and met all these friends? And, you know, like, maybe if you're already famous, they would care about it, but nobody cares about that. I realize that. So please forgive me for boring you, but in terms of the ventriloquism, look for more videos in the future. I hope to be doing some ASMR puppet videos on a channel called Bliss Brain. Bliss Brain ASMR is the name of the channel. That's me, and that channel is about moving our lives forward with positive thoughts, right speech. You know, like basically Buddhism without religion, you know, like the best knowledge that's ever been transmitted down through humanity till now on how to live a happy life. Happy, productive, successful, blah, blah, blah. So that's Bliss Brain, and it's really about getting your brain to be happy and feel good. Yeah, and I'm going to be adding a lot more ASMR videos on there. Well, I guess I've said everything. Kind of like a little bit about each one of those 5 points of the star: art, music, vent, science, and books. And the books, oh yeah, the books, they're written and published on Kindle as ebooks and also Amazon.com. So you can find them there. And I have a growing number of books on Audible.com, one so far, and then the other one's in the works. And some of those chapters will be published on the ASMR channel, the Bliss Brain ASMR channel, because they are sort of ASMR book chapters. They're very calming, and so they'll be published there with various readers. And I've got a book on the Cave Woman cookbook because I'm real wary of how foods can affect how we feel. And that Cave Woman Cookbook supports not only Bliss Brain channel, but it supports Aspies, this channel, empaths, and highly sensitive people, because it uses only the purest foods from Mother Earth and not man-made things. So man-made things aren't really good for the human. You want it directly from our mother, the planet Earth, from whence our food comes. So pure food is good, and highly sensitive people appreciate that because it upsets their system less, you know. Then I've got my Guardians of the Blue Planet series, which is really a discourse on Aspiness and how the brain works, and Simon Cohen's research, all put in a story of a girl who discovers she's a guardian. And you know, guardians aren't just Aspies. They're any neurodiverse person that decides to come to Earth to live here to help, you know, save the blue planet from destruction. So that's a good book. You should get it. And that's the next book on the Audible book series that I'm working on, and I'm going to have some of those posted for free on the Bliss Brain ASMR channel. And then there's some other books, a cartoon, a manga thing, and a TV series, and just some other books I've written, and some Reiki books on Reiki healing. And I will now heal you. As I say goodbye and peace, everybody. Please like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. And have a wonderful week.